Hey there guys, welcome back to another video tutorial and the first video in the video series titled Digital Tools. The digital tool that we're looking at today is one known as Mentimeter. Now what is Mentimeter? Mentimeter is similar to our traditional PowerPoint software presentation tool that is online based and is used for the main purpose of adding interactivity to our presentations, whether it be for business meetings or for educational purposes. It includes a variety of media such as polls, quizzes, content slides where we can be able to provide information among other things, and of course we will be seeing these as we proceed to interact with this digital tool. Now the first thing that we want to proceed with is to sign up for a Mentimeter account if it is our first time accessing and utilizing this platform. For those persons who would have maybe already created an account, then they would automatically proceed to logging in. But for the first timers, we will be using the sign up option, which will permit us the ability to access the platform. Alright, so once I click on the sign up option to my top right, it will take me to my sign up form where I am able to sign up using three methods. So the first method that I can use to sign up for an account is by using a Facebook account, or a second option by using a Google account. Third option is the traditional method where we're able to enter email address such as a Yahoo account, Hotmail, Outlook, etc. Following that, we should be able to enter a password that we will use to log on to this platform, and then the third option is to enter our first and last name. So let's go ahead. I'll be using the option for the traditional using email. Alright, so I have entered my required information, so I will now proceed to sign up for an account. Alright, so once I have hit the sign up button, it should take me to another page where I have some set of steps to proceed in getting my account set up and ready to go. My device is moving a little bit slow at this time, so my page is taking a little time to load. So we'll just give it a few seconds to complete its task. Alright, so we're on the screen where we receive two things. We receive a drop-down box or a pop-up box where we are given an option if we want to save a password, and I'm currently using the Google Chrome browser, so this automatically pops up once I entered my password. I'm selecting never for this option. The next thing is that we would want to select where or for what purpose we would like to use Mentimeter, and in my case I'm going to be using it for the purpose of education. They also require a role for which you would like to use this for. Again, we could go ahead and skip these steps, but just to show you what are the screens that we would normally come across if we're using these initialization. So for this, I'm selecting a teacher K-12 and then save my selection. Following that, I proceed to step 3 of a 4-part step. For this area, I am given the task to select the goals for which I'm using the Mentimeter. I will be selecting the first two, which is for engagement purpose as well as for training or educating, and then save the selection. This now takes me to the final screen of the setup stage where I am given the ability to choose a plan, so I can choose one of 4. We have the free account, which many of us might be using, and we also have others where we are able to use based on a monthly or a yearly build rate. All right, so for this purpose, we're continuing with a free account. And I guess if we're using multiple digital tools, then the most feasible would have been the free account. I'm now into my home page, and on my home page, I am given the default screen where I am able to create presentations, and I also receive a pop-up message just to welcome us to using the Mentimeter platform, among other things. Also, we have a pop-up for recommendations on templates that we can proceed to use based on the purpose for work, education, among other areas. All right, for this purpose, I'm just clicking the exit button for each of these. We're going to be starting from scratch, but we're just clicking to exit that pattern. Just to give you a view as to the different aspects that makes this Mentimeter up. So to our left, we're able to see three main headings: my presentations, inspiration, and branding and colors. So my presentation is our current screen here, where we're able to create a presentation from scratch or using a template that the system would generate for us. All right, for inspiration, that section has some themed presentations that were created just to give an idea as to these were what persons already created. So these could also be used as templates to proceed with presentations. All right, and then the third option, branding and colors, where we're able to add themes, such different colors that we can utilize, among other things. All right, so the main focus right now, however, is the my presentation section, where we just want to get things up and running. And again, because we are using a free account, there are some things that will be limited in terms of our accessibility. I will proceed with the new presentation tab, and then this will take us to our presentation area. In our presentation here, we have a number of things. To the left, we're able to add new slides, so we see our little slide deck to the left. If we were using one of the paid accounts, then we could also import maybe a slide that we already have saved on our device. To my right, we have a variety of things that can be made adjustable to the different slides that we want to add. So let's say we wanted to include on a slide some type of question. So popular questions that they have here, they provide us with multiple choice, word cloud, open-ended, among others. From the popular question types, I believe for each presentation that we create, we are limited with the free account to only using, I believe, 2 to 3 of these within a slide. So if we try to go over the number 3, then we're gonna get a message that we have utilized all of the free options for this. However, for the quiz competition section, we can add as many questions from this section as possible based on the person that is using. Content slides area, similar to our regular, if we're using Google Slides or on our system, whatever PowerPoint presentation software that we normally utilize, then of course we know that there are different things that we can include. For the Mentimeter, we have option where we can have a video slide, an image slide. We can also have slides that include quotes, among other things. All right, so again, I said we will be playing around with these just to show you how it works. And then the final aspect of this area is the advanced questions. So this we could include, let's say we want to take a poll based on a particular question, then we could utilize this section for that purpose. And for this, we're seeing a green star here, means that this is only accessible to person using a paid account. So this we could have included a form into our slide. Previously, if you were taking note, to my right still, we were under the section that says type, and if you realize the other two options, content and customize, are currently grayscale, meaning that we cannot interact with these as yet until we have selected a type from our listing. Okay, let's begin with our interactive slides, and we are starting with the section that focuses on popular question types, and within this area we have 6 popular question types that are normally used in the interactive slides. And of course you're able to see those, which are multiple choice, word cloud, open-ended, skills, ranking, and question and answer. All right, so we are going to begin with a multiple choice item, but before I do that, using the free account, let's say I selected one of my slides to be a multiple choice, and then having done that, I also go ahead and include another slide that has a word cloud, in the sense that we're using a free account for each presentation that we're working on. We can only use 2 popular question types from 5 of these. So from multiple choice, word cloud, open-ended, scales, and ranking, we can only include 2 question types. So it can be whether you want to include 2 multiple choice questions, or it can be a multiple choice and another question. But with the free account, we can only utilize from the popular question types only 2 of these. Where it concerns a question and answer, we can include as many of these from this section in a single standing presentation. Alright, so of course, if that is not clarified as yet, as we go along, you will also see what I was talking on. Alright, so the first one that I want to show you, and also to show how it works in the sense of your audience interacting with your slides, we're going to be doing examples of those throughout. Alright, so the first one that I'm looking to use is the multiple choice. So I'm going to select that question type, and once I click on the question type, automatically it sends us to the area that has a content. So the content means that we're gonna now start to manipulating our slide to include questions, answers, and whatever else it is that we, the presenter, want to include on our specific slides. So in this content area, we have the first standing, which is a question that we would want to include in this space of it being a multiple choice question. Following that, we have the various options that are listed in regards to that multiple choice question that was given. We also have a section called image, and the purpose of this is to just add a side image to the left or the right of our slides, just to add some livelihood to that blank white slide. And of course you'll also see that we also have the result layout, where we can show the result from the audience in terms of what they selected as their response, and this varies among 4 layouts. So we have bar graphs, donut, pie charts, and dot being the 4 main layouts. Also, we have an area called extras, where we are able to show our audience at the end of it what the correct answer was. If it is that they did not select the correct answer, we could also show the result of the number of persons, as well as maybe their responses, rather what percentage selected option A, B, and C, etc. And the third extras indicate to let the participant choose multiple options. So this would then change it from being multiple choice to per se considered checkbox if we had selected this. And last part, we're not going to be utilizing this, so I won't be going in that segmentation. So I am returning to the top, and for this I'm gonna be including a question. I was playing around with some questions before, so what I'm gonna do is to select one from that list. So the question asks, what application is used to create PowerPoint on Google? And I'm gonna be listing 3 options to be possible answers. So we could include sheets, we could include slides, and we could also include docs. Right. Also, if it is that you want your user to be able to see the correct answer afterwards, then we could scroll back to the extras section at the bottom and activate the button that says show correct answer. When we return to that section, we're now seeing some little boxes at the far left of the responses, and what we could go ahead now is to choose the one that has the correct answer so that they can see that correct answer after everyone has participated in this question. The section for the images I have outlined earlier, which was to indicate just to add an image to the slide. So I'm just selecting a free image from the image library. We could also scale down the image to make it smaller than it actually is. Quickly to look at the alt text, what this indicates is that in the sense where whatever reason your image is not showing up, so some of the times we see a blank section or saying image is not showing, then the alt text would be able to provide a description as to what the image was showcasing. But for this, we're not going to be utilizing that for now, so I'm just going to go ahead and save that. And while it is been saved, it should automatically show up to the left or to the right on my current slide that I am working on. In the meantime, the result layout, I'm going to keep that as a bar graph for that, and then this would have completed the requirement of our multiple choice slide. So now I'm going to proceed to present this to show how it is that the presenter and the audience would be able to interact and correspond with this current slide. Alright, so I'm going to click on present, and then at the top here we're given a location where we can go. So the website here, or the URL address, they would type it in on their device, right? So they would type in the full thing, or they could just type in menti.com, and then once they click on that, they will be relocated to the Mentimeter screen, and they would be asked to enter a code, and then this code would be provided. However, if the presentation or the slide was created days, maybe before 1 to 2 days of the presentation, then this code would automatically be expired. So if the day is not between 1 to 2 days, then we would have to use the link instead of the code, because the code expires after a while. Alright, so I am using another device now to access this question, and then you're gonna see how it is that your audience will be able to interact. So for this, I'm gonna be selecting the correct answer, and then I'm submitting it. And if you can see on screen, as soon as your audience interacts with the question, then the submissions would be made and seen on screen. Also, if you can note, to the bottom right of my screen, you're seeing a little cursor icon and then a 1 that indicates the number of persons who have made submissions to this question. Alright, and instruction says to click on enter to see the correct answer. So if I click enter on my device, what it does is to grayscale my other options and leave my correct answer active. So that is the roundup on the multiple choice. So now we return to include another type of question from that. So we're gonna reset the results before we proceed, and then we're gonna return to the type. Alright, so the second one that we can look at is the word cloud. So I'm gonna click on add a new slide. So this is adding a second slide, and I want this second slide now to be a word cloud. Alright, so again, it's similar to our multiple choice. In the content area, we're given the ability to enter a question, and then what that question would be required of from our audience is to have single words being entered as it relates to the question being asked. And again, we look at that further. So this indicates that we can allow how many responses or entries do we want each person to enter. For the example, because I am the one who is completing these, I will just keep it at 3 just to show you how the results will look. And I will also allow for my case because I want to show you how it would look if more than one persons were making submission. So in this case, I'm going to activate the extras. Alright, so I'm returning to the question again. I had already have some questions saved, so I'm just going to randomly click on one of these. Alright, so the question says explain digital citizenship in one word, and they would be given the ability to enter single words to represent this. Alright, again, I can go ahead and add the image to the side of my slide just to bring the slide a bit more to life. Alright, so having completed this, the next thing that we're going to be doing is to click on the present tab just to show you how the user would be interacting with this slide. Alright, so I'm going to go to present, and then on the device of the person they should be able to see the question being presented. So I'm gonna go ahead and enter 3 random words for now, and for the basis of time, just for you to be able to see how this works. So we have cyber bully, we have security, privacy. Alright, so these are 3 words that I have, and then I'm going to go ahead and submit these. And as you can see on screen, we could be able to tell that one person has made submission of their words that were required. So just to show you how it would look when a second person or more, so as the person sending their words, we start to see a word cloud being built up on screen. Alright, so again, I'm gonna enter 3 other random words. And then I'm submitting. So we currently have 6 words on screen, and as you can see, the slide automatically rearranged this set of words for us. So as the results are coming in from your audience, you can still have your interaction taking place. So that is how the word cloud technically works. All right, we're gonna return to our slide, and of course I'm going to reset the result for this so that we can continue. Alright, so if I proceed now to add a next slide, please pay attention. So far we have used 2 questions from the popular question type, so I'm going to add a 3rd slide at this time. And because I'm using a free account, I get the message to say that I have reached the maximum number of questions for my free Mentimeter account. And as you can see within this section, the only activated question type is a question and answer, as I have stated earlier. Alright, but just to allow you to be able to see how maybe 2 more, the open-ended and the ranking, works. Outside of that, I'm going to return to slide 2, and then I'm going to return to another question type. So for this, I could go ahead and click on the open-ended, and then I'm gonna keep the question as is. So this time for the content area, it follows a similar pattern. The only thing that changed is the result layout, so we can decide what context we want the results to show up in. We could show individual responses on the slide per time, or we could show them as bubble speech bubbles, or in a grid format. So for the speech bubble, just for the essence of time, I'm gonna keep it on that. And then now I'm gonna present just to show you how your audience will be able to interact, and you will be able to see the result. And again, I'm just sending in some random response based on the essence of time. So I'm submitting my first response, and that has currently arrived on screen. Again, I'm gonna send another response, and that is showing up. And I could go ahead and send a 3rd one just to show you that this is how you would see the responses of your audience coming in. All right, that's a third one. And of course, it doesn't have to be a single word because it could be a sentence or whatever pattern that you ask your audience to make submission in. All right, so again, to the bottom right, we can see that 3 persons made submission of response in terms of interacting with the slide. All right, so that was the open-ended question. For ranking, we could quickly look at that. I think I could change question type, or I'm gonna keep the question type as is, and then I'm gonna add the items that are expected to be ranked. So maybe for this I could say cyberbully, netiquette, and maybe security. So your audience would be required to arrange these in a ranking scale. All right, so again, I'm quickly gonna go ahead and present, and on the device that your audience is using, once they are able to view that particular slide, then they should see the option appearing in like a drop down box. So they would see the option that says first, and they would select which one they are identifying as first from the list, and then second, until all of the options have been highlighted. Then they would be required to submit the response. So submission was made, and we can see that this person submitted security being first, netiquette second, and cyberbully being the third option. All right, so we return to and reset our results, go back to type, and I won't be looking at scales for this. So the last one is the Q&A, and as I said earlier, we have utilized 2 questions so far based on what is restricted, so I can go ahead and add a new slide for the purpose of the question and answer. So I click on the question and answer, and this can be used for whatever reason. It can be based on getting feedback and then making clarifications for whatever reason, as I said earlier. All right, so the content area, we are required to ask a question. So again, I'm gonna be selecting a random question. All right, let's see. Or I could implement a new question. So what are you unclear about from this session? Or it could be, what is your view on cyberbullying? All right, so that's the question I'm selecting, and then we have a section called configure. So is it that when would you like the audience to ask their question, or in this case it could be for them to make their submission of responses. So we could say only on the Q&A slides, because this would be the only slide that they are interacting for this question. And again, we have the image section, image library. So what this does is to just make some improvements on our blank slide. All right, because this is a new image, it is taking a while on my device to load, and I'm going to minimize this and save so that it can be applied to my slide. All right, so while that is been loaded, our question, Q&A is to have our audience engaging in terms of, it is a classroom setting, then you can have them asking question, or you can have them submitting things that they're not clear about, submitting answers, whatever purpose it is that you would want to utilize this question type, then you can do just that. All right, so currently we're seeing the message on screen that there is no questions from the audience. So what I'm gonna do now is to select the presentation so that we can start getting or viewing responses that would be submitted. All right. So what is your view on cyberbullying? So on the device of your user, they would see a button that says open Q&A, so they would proceed to do just that, and then from there they would enter their response and then submit. So I'm just gonna quickly put something here. It is wrong, and then I submit. And then once the submission is made, the response from the persons will show up, whether it is individual or more than one. So based on this, I believe it would show one per slide. All right, and then once each of these has been addressed, then the presenter could go ahead and mark it as answered. We're seeing a thumbs up here, so we could have other audience member agreeing to this by clicking on that thumb, and then the presenter would see that there are a number of persons who are in agreement to this question or this answer or this feedback, whatever it is. All right, so once this has been addressed, they could mark it as answered, and then if there was no other question, we would see the default message. If there was other question, then it would proceed to that question slide. All right, so that's that for the Q&A question. Right, so that also covers the popular question types area, and what we're gonna do is to take a breather from this particular video, and then we will have a follow-up video, so the video 2 on Mentimeter, that proceed with the others. Thank you so very much for tuning in. Please subscribe, share, and like, so that we can reach others who are just as interested in you in these digital tools. Thank you again for tuning in, and please look out for the other videos to follow.